Good afternoon and welcome to Spectrum Television News at noon. I am Uyai Imam, come to you live from Uyodhya Carbon State Capital. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu orders probe into killing of women, 6 children in Kano. Minister of Solid Minerals Dele Alake re-elected as Africa Minerals Group Chair. In other news, the United Kingdom's Prime Minister Starmer rejects Trump's tariff threats, emphasizes Greenland's rights to choose its future. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. We begin the news at noon from the national scene where President Bola Tinubu has ordered a full investigation into the gruesome killing of a housewife Fatima Abubakar and her 6 children at the Chiranki community in Kano State. In a statement issued today by his Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Nanuka, the President condemned the attack, describing it as barbaric and condoled with the bereaved family. Tinubu also commended the police for the swift arrest of the principal suspects and directed security agencies to ensure diligent prosecution. The president assured Nigerians of the federal government's commitment to protecting lives and property, stressing that such acts of violence would not be tolerated. Away from that, the Vice President Kashim Shettima has led the Nigerian delegation to the 56th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. The Vice President arrived from Conakry, Guinea, where he represented President Bola Tinubu at the presidential inauguration of President Mamadi Doumbouya. According to reports, Vice President Shettima will present Nigeria's 2026 economic outlook to the world's influential political and business leaders as he participates in key plenary sessions focusing on the responsible deployment of artificial intelligence, quantum computing and biotechnology. Throughout the week, the Vice President will hold bilateral meetings with heads of state, top executives from multinational corporations and leaders of international development finance institutions to deepen partnership that align with the renewed hope agenda of the administration of President Tinubu. In a separate development, the federal government has expressed condolences to the government and people of South Africa, Mozambique and Zimbabwe following the tragic loss of lives in recent devastating floods. The floods have reportedly claimed the lives of more than 100 people and displaced thousands across parts of southern Africa after weeks of torrential rainfall that left entire communities cut off. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a statement issued in Abuja by its spokesperson Kimi Ebiemfa, commiserated with affected countries over the immense human and material losses caused by the floods, which have overwhelmed rivers, damaged roads and bridges, displaced large populations and disrupted agricultural production and essential services. I beg your pardon. It further said Nigeria underscored the growing threat posed by climate-related extreme weather events across Africa, reiterating the importance of strengthened regional cooperation, early warning systems, climate adaptation strategies, and sustained international support to mitigate the humanitarian and developmental consequences of such disasters. In another development, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, has been re-elected as the chairman of Africa Mineral Strategy Group, AMSG. Alake was first unanimously elected as the pioneer chairman of AMSG in 2024 on the sidelines of Future Minerals Forum. He was re-elected at the 2026 annual general meeting of the group, held on the sidelines of the same conference in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. A statement issued today in Abuja by the Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Segun Tomori, noted that the move is part of efforts to strengthen its institutional framework. Reports say the Continental Ministerial Forum of African Ministers is responsible for minerals and mining, committed to coordinated action aimed at maximizing value addition and beneficiation from Africa's vast mineral resources. Away from that, workers under the Federal Capital Territory Administration and the Federal Capital Development Authority have embarked on an indefinite strike, resulting in the closure of government offices across the Federal Capital Territory and its area councils. The strike follows a prior warning issued last Friday when the workers announced their intention to down tools. Over unresolved labor and welfare-related concerns, the industrial action was initiated by the Joint Union Action Congress, which instructed employees at all levels within the FCT Public Service to withdraw their services. JUAC accused the FCTA authorities of failing to address long-standing demands, noting that the strike commenced after the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum issued to the administration. On education matters, the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) has released the deployment details for its 2026 Batch A Stream 1 prospective Corps members, confirming that call-up letters are now available. The scheme announced this today via its official X handle, stating that some prospective Corps members posted to Lagos State will undergo their orientation programs in Ekiti, Kwara, Ondo, Ogun and Osun camps, while Corps members deployed to the Federal Capital Territory will undergo the orientation course in Kaduna, Niger and Nasarawa camps. Recall that NYSC had said only about 40% of registered prospective Corps members can be accommodated for the upcoming orientation program. The scheme also issued a travel advisory to prospective Corps members, stressing that prospective Corps members are advised not to travel at night to the orientation camp. It further reminded them to complete documentation ahead of arrival, noting that required forms must be printed and signed before camp registration. We move now to Africa, where South Africa has declared a national disaster after a widespread flooding reportedly destroyed homes and killed dozens, while others sought shelter in neighboring Mozambique. According to reports, heavy rains and storms have battered the two southern African countries for weeks, claiming more than 30 lives in South Africa's north-eastern Limpopo and Mpumalanga provinces. The head of South Africa's National Disaster Management Center, Elias Sithole, in a statement stated that the situation is classified as a national disaster. Meanwhile, authorities have continued to search for survivors and recover bodies. On the foreign scene, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says Donald Trump's plan to impose tariffs on the UK and other countries that oppose his plan to take over Greenland is completely wrong. Starmer stated that the decision regarding the future of Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. While calling it a dire situation, the Prime Minister also ruled out retaliatory tariffs, saying a trade war is in nobody's interest. Recall that on Saturday, Trump said he would impose 10% tariffs on UK, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, Netherlands and Finland by February 1st. The tariffs, which are taxes on imports from those countries, would rise to 25% by June 1. Still on the foreign scene, at least 39 people have reportedly died in a train collision in southern Spain, and dozens more have been injured in the country's worst rail crash in more than a decade. Spain's civil guard said carriages on a Madrid-bound train derailed and crossed over to the opposite tracks, colliding with an oncoming train in Adamas near the city of Cordoba. The rail network said 400 passengers and staff were on board both trains. According to Andalusia's emergency services, at least 73 people were taken to hospital, 24 of them seriously injured, including 4 children. Meanwhile, Spanish Transport Minister Oscar Ponte described the incident as extremely strange as officials launched an investigation. Still to come in the news. FIFA condemns Senegal for unacceptable scenes in AFCON final. Stay tuned for details of this and more in a moment. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned in now to conclude the news this hour. On our business news, the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy has signed a landmark memorandum of understanding with the Abu Dhabi Ports Group to explore strategic collaboration in ports development, maritime logistics and digital solutions. The Deputy Director, Head Public Relations at the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Osagie Edward, announced this in a statement made available to newsmen. He explained that the MOU was signed on the sidelines of the recently concluded Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, marking a significant milestone in Nigeria-United Arab Emirates economic relations. According to him, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, led the Nigerian delegation, while the chairman of AD Ports Group, Mohammed Hassan, led the group's management team. Still in business, data from the CBN Quarterly Statistical Bulletin has revealed that ATM withdrawals between January and June 2025 amounted to 36.34 trillion naira, nearly tripling the 12.21 trillion naira recorded in the corresponding period of 2024. This represents an increase of 24.13 trillion naira, equivalent to a 197.66% year-on-year rise, even as regulators moved to discourage excessive cash usage through revised fees and tightening monetary policy. According to the data on the transaction volumes, Nigerians carried out 858.80 million ATM withdrawals in the first 6 months of 2026, compared with 496.47 million transactions in the same period of 2024. The increase of 362.34 million transactions represents a growth rate of 72.98%, indicating that higher charges did little to dampen demand for cash. On our health news, at least 7 fresh suspected cases of Lassa fever have emerged in Benue State, intensifying public concern over a potential wider outbreak of the viral illness. The state epidemiologist, Dr. Asema Nsuga, confirmed the developments during a briefing with journalists in Makurdi, explaining that samples from the affected individuals have been taken and dispatched for laboratory testing. According to Nsuga, health officials are maintaining heightened vigilance, with surveillance activities expanded to ensure swift identification and response to any confirmed infections. He urged the public to prioritize preventive habits, particularly safe food storage and measures to keep rodents away, describing them as the major transmitters of the Lassa fever virus. He also stated the importance of maintaining sanitary environments, practicing good hygiene, and sustaining effective rodent control efforts, which he said are essential to lowering the chances of transmission. Now to the world of sports. FIFA's president Gianni Infantino has condemned some Senegal players for the unacceptable scenes which overshadowed their victory in Sunday's Africa Cup of Nations final when they walked off the pitch in protest at a penalty awarded to Morocco. Senegal's former Liverpool star Sadio Mane remained on the pitch and urged his teammates to come back onto the pitch for the penalty. Reports say they were already furious at having a goal disallowed at the other end of a soft-looking foul minutes earlier. Meanwhile, trouble broke out in the stands as some Senegalese fans tried to enter the field of play and became involved in fighting with security personnel. Still in sports, CAF President Patrice Motsepe has announced a record $10 million prize for the AFCON champions, Senegal, an increase from $7 million in 2023. The runner-ups, Morocco, received $4 million, while Nigeria got $2.5 million, and fourth-placed Egypt earned $1.3 million. Quarter-finalists were awarded $800,000 each. Teams finishing third in their group received $700,000 and fourth in the group earned $500,000. On entertainment news, reality star Josephine Otabo popularly known as Fina, has denied, saying she has not received her 100 million naira grand prize for winning the Big Brother Nigeria reality show in 2022. Recall that Fina called out the organizers in 2023, claiming that she was yet to receive all the prizes she won on the show. Addressing the video recently trending, Fina stated that the video was cut with a malicious intent, stressing that she only stated in the full video that those mocking her for turning to a streamer despite winning 100 million naira years ago never supported her when she was fighting for the prize money to be released to her. She urged bloggers to stop cutting her videos to twist her statement, threatening that she would sue any blogger who cuts her videos if she got into any legal issue as a result. And that's all we have on this news bulletin. Do us follow social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTVLive.ng. This has been Spectrum Television News at noon. I am Uyai MM. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.